One, let's hit it. Everybody, hello, hello. What is going on? I am back doing another episode, getting into the groove of things, getting back into it, which this is something that needed to be done since last month, but now I'm back, just getting into the groove of things again. And I know after this episode, I'll be doing another episode following up within the next day because I know there's so much happening in the world of tech right now. It is very hard to keep up with everything, basically. Which that's why I'm doing this episode right now. And today's episode is going to be about the TikTok ban that happened last month, and what does this mean moving forward, and where we're at. So, anyways, this is what we are going to be talking about on today's episode. And also, guys, if you are up on YouTube or listening to me on anywhere else, make sure to hit the like. And if you want to hear more tech episodes like this, make sure to hit the follow, the like button, and comment what you want to see. And if you're on YouTube, just make sure to comment or on foundation.app. Um, all your feedback is very important for me to continue on with the episode because I always come up with creative ideas that even though I may not be able to create because due to other reasons happening, which I'll get into what I've been doing until the end of the episode, what I've been doing lately, what's causing me to, cause a delay of recording and get not be able to get my podcast out on time, which I'll tell you in towards the end of the TikTok episode. And before we continue on today's episode, let me just give a few words of our sponsors today. And today's sponsor is Humble Bundle. If you are a gamer or someone that's trying to keep up with the newest material or trying to study on any subject of matter, music, cybersecurity, anything like that, Humble Bundles have great deals. Something I wouldn't avoid at all, and something I would definitely personally check out if you are looking to save money on high costs on textbooks or any role playing games for that matter. So if you are serious into getting into anything like that, make sure to check up on Humble Bundle. The link will be down in the show notes, so check it out. Next, not least, is Anchor Power. So if you're looking to get a power cord or something to charge your phone within minutes or within that short amount of time, Anchor is the place to go. Which I've purchased Anchor a long time ago. Check it out, and that way you can go ahead and look in what you need for your needs, which I totally recommend if you're looking for a good power charger out on the go. And for anything else that I have missed in throughout the sponsorships, be sure to check it out down in the show notes below, and check out all the favorite sponsorships right down into the description. Anyways, let's get on to today's episode of the TikTok ban. Now, as everyone know, and everyone has probably a good idea of what has happened last month, back in January. This I would say that period was, I would say, one of the most historical periods of tech, and anything that I've seen in last month, a lot has happened so far within from the beginning of the year until the following month, February. And as you guys know, TikTok is owned by a Chinese company by ByteDance. Has been a hot topic in U.S. political circles for years. Concerns about data security, potential government surveillance, and foreign influence have led to repeated attempts to either regulate or ban the app, while some states and government agencies previously prohibit TikTok on official devices. The situation escalated when lawmakers moved for an outright ban, citing national security risk. But is there more to this than meets the eye? So this is one I wanted to comment about the whole TikTok ban, and the way I was viewing on this too, going over about where it has happened to TikTok, and there's always a lot of controversies whether you like TikTok or whether you're against TikTok, you're for or against the application. Very much so. I think this ban does show a whole precedence of the United States. As far as banning an application, I don't know where we are at. And that's as a society thinking that this app will harm society, and thinking that this will be the turnover our for our youth and destroying the minds of our youth. My argument with this whole ban, and even though a lot of people will argue that this was Trump's fault and yada yada, but if you think about it, um, yeah, I would say that it did start with him at first. This was when he left office around 2020, but then of course, then moving forward, you've had a lot of people from the Democrats that wanted to ban it because the whole China surveillance. Well, I would say, in given where we are at, yes, while it is true that TikTok does surveil and collects data all the time, mind you, guess who else collects a whole bunch of data? Other social media apps such as Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, all these American companies that does the same crap as well. So that's where we are at. Behind the reasons behind the ban, well, here we go. The U.S. government claims that TikTok collects vast amounts of user data, which could be accessed by the Chinese government under China's cybersecurity laws. Despite ByteDance assurance that U.S. User data is stored separately and not shared with China, skepticism remains high. But beyond data concerns, there's also question of influence. With over 150 million users in the US, TikTok has become a major force in shaping trends, news, and even political discourse. Lawmakers worry that the Chinese government could use the platform to spread quote unquote misinformation or manipulation among the American public opinion. Could this ban be purely about security, or is there a deeper political economic factor at play? Now, and I will tell you one thing. After doing my research, where things were going, and especially where I was following up last month, this right there, this is not even far from the truth where I've been seeing with TikTok. Now, if you look at where TikTok in the United States has become very, very successful. And to add my own insert right there, TikTok has had at least about over 37 I think it was like 37 or million or 37 70 million users in the United States. That's a big that's a huge number right there. And the fact that what made it successful recently is the TikTok shop. TikTok shop has gained a lot more traction. A lot of people are using that TikTok shop to sell and to purchase right through the TikTok app, and that's why it's become so it's so popular as of recent. But there is a deeper story to any of this if I can add this as well, and I can see where things are gonna be heading over. And because I know you've got this whole scenario right now where you've got U.S. versus China situation, and my take on this is that even though this banned, the U.S. may think that this was the right reasons to protect national security, there is a lot more to this. I honestly think that this has to do with competition, and if you look at where you got the lawmakers, people in Senate right now. First of all, they are buying stocks from all the major U.S. Tech stocks like Nvidia, Meta, AMD, and this is not just a solely on Democrats or solely on Republicans. Both parties are doing this regardless. And as much as I don't like to talk about politics in the podcast, here's my thing with this: is that the United States or the U.S. government should never have touched it at all. And where do you think that this is all, Trump's fault or whatsoever? Right now, I'm not going to comment further whose fault it is or not, who isn't it, who isn't. Now, the bigger concern in this one is that this is one thing is that the United States thinks that they're doing so, becoming so righteous into banning an app, and TikTok is just a private company, which even though yes, it's a Chinese app, and now however you have to understand that TikTok is pretty. It's a very capitalistic. T- uh, you know, it has a lot of capitalistic views, and this is a company that was started by an Indonesian man, a businessman. And what makes it so embarrassing throughout the whole thing, if you look at the people in Congress, they don't want competition. And where I see this is just a muck. This has nothing to do with protecting national security, because Facebook has its own marketplace, and I do believe that they are very concerned of their bottom line. And TikTok, I mean, if you look at it too, first of all, it's not as any worse as the other apps that we use today. And even though I personally don't want my data to be searched by any government, I do think that social media has become a lot worse, and you got to understand who you're with, especially when you have a social media presence, or what you call it, like who you're having installed on your phone. It really matters. It doesn't matter if you're using Facebook or Twitter or any U.S. social media app. You got to be very vigilant of what you use, and the fact that so much of your data is being collected and being sent to data brokers all the time, and rightfully so. You guys may not even know that too, and that's my issue with this whole ban, is that this is a whole farce, just a terrible farce right there. In fact, if you do not like, first of all, my opinion is that the government should not be anyone's parent, right? It should not tell anybody that what to not use. First of all, if you do not like the influence that TikTok is putting into your children, then why do you even have TikTok installed into your child's phone, or why do you even have TikTok installed in your own phone for the first place? I don't even understand the logic or concept behind any of this. Where if you think that it's a threat, and if you're worried about the Chinese data mining data mining your life, then why even install the app? Because first of all, majority of people that uses it, it's not just people in the United States, but majority of the world uses TikTok for their own business. And coming down into the third part I want to say about this is the impact on users and businesses. Now, this is going to be very important to say at least where the TikTok economy is going. And also, if you guys created a TikTok account right through a U.S. server, chances are it may not even be safe to have TikTok. Right. Even who knows how long TikTok is going to be as popular. It even a lot of content creators that have uses to monetize their content and grown their content through TikTok, because a lot of content creators, many influencers, and digital entrepreneurs rely on TikTok as their primary platform for engagements and income. The ban would force them to pivot to other platforms like Instagram Reels or YouTube Shorts. Now, the more recent one I just definitely want to mention is RedNote, which is another Chinese app, and a lot of these big time content creators slash influencers, RedNote people have pretty much have swooped over to RedNote because they even a lot of content creators have worried. If you think about where TikTok is going, let's say if TikTok gets bought out by an American company, God knows that what the implications of an app would do, and even more so, even a lot of people don't even trust any American company because they will just fiddle around and mess around with things that they shouldn't, and which here we are, this so-called land of the free, which here even though the U.S. is supposed to stand by its um, constitution of free expression and free speech, and I think it's just a farce. Honestly, they more so is that they don't even give a crap about freedom of expression and free speech when, even though they shouldn't even ban the app to begin with. I honestly don't think that there's a lot of proof where it has caused a lot of damage. I mean, say what you want about TikTok, but we should have a lot more competition, not social media monopolies taking over. Like, first of all, as an example, Meta. Meta is a big company, which owns Facebook, WhatsApp, Instagram, which Meta has purchased Instagram a couple years back now, say over a decade ago, and then you got Facebook Messenger. So that's four things I've mentioned, and then you got products like MetaQuest. I mean, look, that's where I'm. That's most of the things that I'm listening through. And look, going over is we do need more competition instead of monopolies. Monopolies is not the way to go, and I do think that the U.S. government have crossed the line when they've decided to cut TikTok. Now, and I don't think there's not much I can say about that. And even though as of recent, Trump has come back to support apps like TikTok, which who knows if he realized the potential about TikTok. Doesn't matter because I don't make too much content on TikTok. I have posted some shorts on there, but it's not like I'm even making any revenue through TikTok at all. Of course, if I was a frequent post content creator that posts stuff on TikTok, that would, I would say, affect it more on me than anything else. I just think that they are definitely going to reach up to a tipping point where, let's just say, the new guy comes into town, right? And let's say, for instance, that there's a small business and somebody want to go into support the local mom and pop shop. And imagine if the government stepped right into that mom pop shop, and imagine if the government told that mom and pop shop that you've got to do this and that, and made sure that they've sold in the most quotas or anything like that too. And imagine how much of a bully the U.S. government would do if they started to stomp out more people that are trying to make alternatives. First of all, this is not a free market. If you think that the U.S. is a free market capitalist society, which I'm sure it is still, don't get me twisted on this too. Now, imagine if they started to jump in and started to tell other companies what to do. And that's where I see that they're trying to scale this and tip this more and more and more. And imagine if they didn't like anything else, I probably rest assured that they would just do the same thing to anyone else. And the global reaction behind this, the U.S. isn't the first country to take action on TikTok. India banned TikTok around 2020, and nations have considered similar measures. If this ban holds, will other Western countries follow suit? And what does this mean for the broader U.S./China tech rivalry? And that's what we needed to speak about this too, because U.S., China, things have just gone pretty intense lately. Um, because here we are throwing tariffs at another company, which I don't think they have done any harm or anything like that at all. And clearly, China, even though you don't have to agree with what China has to say, but you gotta look at the bigger picture. Yes, they are run as a communist society, but with a basically spreading out with a more capitalistic point. Because honestly, if you look at where China is going, China, it's definitely going to take over. And the fact that China has a lot less regulations than the United States and how business is conducted. So that's where it's going to go. And if you think about it, I've read it in the comments recently, and a lot of people just don't trust TikTok. Well, they will, but if someone bought TikTok, let's say of tomorrow or this month, do you think that majority of people will still continue to use the TikTok service? Probably not. I suppose not, because way things are going with the tensions going with China/US. Imagine that you're gonna let's say if you decide to use another competitor like I mentioned, Red Note. I know there's been a lot of Americans using Red Note. One issue with Red Note is the fact that it's all in Mandarin Chinese, and if you're gonna get sign up with an account on Red Note, is you got to know how to speak Mandarin, how to read Mandarin, and that's going to be a huge communication barrier. And it's learning Mandarin isn't as easy as learning French, Chinese, French, Spanish, Portuguese, or any of the roaming languages. You gotta understand that this isn't like an app you have to get in. You're gonna have to get into, and that's why I think there's gonna be a lot more people leaving these U.S. Purchase apps and getting away from them and going somewhere else, and definitely spread their content over to the next platform. So what's gonna happen then? While the ban is in place, ByteDance has been fighting legal battles and lobbying for a reversal. Some analysts have believed TikTok might sell its U.S. operations to an American company to avoid complete shutdown. Will this be a repeat of the 2020 saga when TikTok was nearly acquired by Oracle and Walmart? Also, how will social media users adapt? Will Instagram Reels, YouTube Shorts see a surge in new creators? Could this lead to a more fragmented social media experience? I think so. I would think so as well. Because right now things are already tense, and a lot of people just don't know where to go as far as spreading their content. And I would say that I have posted some of my gaming content through TikTok, and even though, like I've said, I'm not like the biggest TikTok user in the world, and I've only posted up a few things, and I'm like not a major streamer that holds hundreds of thousands or even millions of followers. So I don't have quite a huge following compared to the rest of the world. Now, anyone else that does, this will affect you a lot more. If you're a big internet celebrity, you're a big internet a content creator, whatever you want to label yourselves, that this will affect you more so if as far as making revenue online, and that will depend on if you want to stay on an app like that too. So that's just my take about TikTok, and even though there's going to be a lot more creators, they're going to start to think twice if you're going to start continuing to stay with the platform or migrate to somewhere else where the social media is not so fragmented. It's so scattered. Basically, their whole experience will revert to somewhere else, or they're gonna have to end up packing their bags and migrate. And just like I myself, I've used places like MySpace, then went from Facebook, then to Twitter years ago, and I've done a whole bunch of migration. And if I were to do anything or spread my content out there without any closure, without any censorship, it would have to be the open source social media platforms like Nostr. And I think that Nostr, the idea of having open relays, will be an idea where content creators will start to open up to the idea of Nostr and other social media presence, so that way they can share to their followers. So depends on who you ask. Who knows if many of these followers will end up continuing to follow up their fair content creators or influencers. So, in my closing thought on this, at the end of the day, the TikTok ban is more than just a tech story. It's a debate about data privacy, global influence, and the power of social media in our daily lives. Would this move protect Americans, or is it just a step toward broader internet restrictions? And I would say more so, it's about more restrictions, and where the U.S. is trending. It's definitely a sad moment to hear where things are trending in the U.S. as far as being open to competition. And I love to hear your thoughts. What do you think about the TikTok ban? Do you support it? Do you believe it's an overreach? Let's keep the conversation going and connect with me via the social media. I'll have all the links down below. And just want to go out and share a little bit of my recent experience with what I've been doing lately. And most of you may not even know what's been happening in my world. Now, as of lately, I've been going through Coursera.org. So I'm studying on currently on Google's cybersecurity course, which I already signed up for the 7-day course. I passed module 1 about 2 days ago. And I've got to say, though, it's a really good course. Now, I will mention something that the course is pretty easy to follow through, to read through, and you do have to go and make sure you read through the courses, follow up, study on cybersecurity. So my next path in life, so I will say that I will have a lot more time in my hands to get more recording done. Since as of right now, I'm doing a job search for another job, and I have an interview Monday, and so wish me luck for a work at home job that I've already applied for. And that's something I've got going on. And cybersecurity, something I have to say though, this was not my first attention, but I've had looked into the world of cybersecurity when I was much younger, and I was pretty fascinated too. And with a lot that's been happening lately, throughout the recent news, they're always looking for cybersecurity folks out there too. So that's why I'm putting myself out there and applying into the modules and the courses on Coursera. So I've already put in all the details on my Substack. So if you guys want to read through what I've put down on the newsletters, make sure to follow me on the Gray Quarters, which is leonthegray.substack.com. So I'll have the link down below. So check out my Substack for more information, and be sure to subscribe on Substack too if you want to follow me more on there as well. The community is great. It does have a lot of content creators from tech, political commentators, fashion, authors, and lots of good things happening on Substack. I love the new community. I'm definitely vibing with it too. So, guys, go ahead and check it out as well. Anyways, thanks for tuning in to the Leon the Great podcast. And don't forget to subscribe and leave a review for the next time. Stay informed, stay connected. As always, make sure to subscribe to your favorites podcasting applications of your choice. I'm on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, and you can go old school with RSS feed as always, which that's my preference of choice. Have a good one, everybody, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care.